What's up guys, Phoenix here. In this video we're going to be taking some time to talk about even more Blue Eyes support. Like, Jesus Christ, apparently Konami does not feel the need to put a stop to this anytime soon, and apparently they just think that our deck sizes are limitless. How am I supposed to fit everything I want to play from this into 40 cards? I have no idea. And preferably 37 if we're being completely real, but that's neither here nor there. There are so many of these cards, and I don't know how I'm supposed to fit these into a 40 card deck. But nonetheless, Konami has given us 3 more Blue Eyes cards to completely add to the Blue Eyes theme even further, and it's just, these cards are getting better and better in terms of solving problems that I had with the initial wave of the additional Blue Eyes legacy support. Like, everything that I was having any sort of issue with is being addressed, and it's really strange how I'm thinking of something that could be amazing for this deck to function and be more functional and possibly be more competitive, and as I'm thinking of them, the very next day they're being released and spoiled as actual cards that are doing almost exactly what I wanted cards to be added to the archetype to do. Like, that's absolutely insane, and I really wish that Konami would stop. Although, please don't, because all of this new support is really good, and they're getting better and better, as I've already said. The later in waves we're getting, the better quality and the more problems these cards are actually solving. First out of these 3 new support cards is Priest with Eyes of Blue, a level 1 spellcaster tuner with 300 attack and 1200 defense, and it's got 2 different effects. Both of them are phenomenal in my opinion. Its first effect is when this card is normal summoned, you can target 1 level 1 light tuner monster in your graveyard, add that monster to your hand. So basically, kind of functions like a Kinkabayu for the deck, but it adds the card to hand, thus allowing you to gain an additional normal summon off of Light Mausoleum and trigger that monster's effect if it was like Sage or whatever the other monster you were summoning or adding back was. Now, its second effect you can only use once per turn for all copies of Priest with Eyes of Blue, and that is, you can shuffle this card from your graveyard into your deck, then target 1 effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your graveyard except for that monster. So this gives another way for this deck to target your relevant cards, i.e. Maiden, Priestess. All of those things can be triggered now through not only Light Mausoleum, but through this card's grave effect as well, and it kind of mimics Blackstone of Legend a little bit in terms of what it did for the Red Eyes support, in that this allows recursion from grave with its first effect, and then it also recurs itself back into the deck with its other effect, while also potentially triggering other things to happen. Now, of course, it does have to send that monster to the graveyard, so if you target like Priestess, then you're going to have to trigger Priestess effect and send something else to the grave to get the 2 searches as well. Very minor factor, but it is something that may come up more often than not in your games and technical play with this deck. Now, I've already mentioned Blackstone of Legend and what it did for the Red Eyes deck in terms of legacy support, and that's rather fitting considering that the second piece of this wave of Blue Eyes legacy support is basically another Whitestone of Legend. It is a card by the name of Ancient Whitestone, a level 1 dragon tuner with 600 attack, 500 defense. So it basically replaces Whitestone, sort of, kind of. Its effects are a little bit different, and its effects mimic more of what Blackstone does in terms of what it does for the Red Eyes deck, in terms of what that legacy support gave that deck functionality-wise. Its effect is, you can only use the second effect of Ancient Whitestone per turn. Its first effect, during the end phase, if this card was sent to the graveyard during this turn, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck. So, pretty decent in terms of what it does there. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, add that monster to your hand. So, instead of giving you immediate summoning of the Blue Eyes, it has to be done at the end phase, which is a bit slow, tad bit slow, but you've got to understand that you are also going to be triggering this card off of like cards of consonants, things like that, so you're gaining pluses and advancing your game state in that regard. At least I believe that would be the route to take with this card. Now, its second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and add that to your hand. That's really cool. I really like that. And the fact that that's only once per turn is probably for the best, because being able to add cards like alternate White Dragon back to your hand and stuff like that, just to be able to summon them for free again. Things like that can come into play, and that would actually be rather unhealthy if you're able to just swarm the board with all of these things. But, I mean, we're dealing with pendulum summoning, so I don't see how that wouldn't be necessarily fair to give this deck a way to swarm quickly, but I think it's already getting that as efficiently as it needs to be without the use of mechanics that are trying to mimic the way pendulum summoning operates. Third and last card in this wave of Blue Eyes support is an equipped spell by the name of Light Guidance. Now, I don't know if this card is actually going to be worth playing. If it is, maybe a one of, I'm not sure. Because it is definitely alright. It's sort of like a premature burial for the deck in the essence of, like, or more like, I guess it could be, have a better parallels with Symbol of Heritage. Something along those lines, but it's an equipped spell card. Its effect is, if you do not control another Light Guidance while you have 3 or more Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, target 1 Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, special summon that monster from your graveyard, and equip this card to it. But its effects are negated. If this card leaves the field, banish that monster. Its second effect is, other monsters you control cannot attack. The equipped monster can attack a number of times each battle phase equal to the number of Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard. So that's really cool. The fact that you have to control 3, or you have to have 3 Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard in order to even activate this card means that whatever you are bringing back off of it, although it's the only thing that's going to be able to attack, it is able to attack at least twice every battle phase, because if, let's say you had 3 Blue Eyes in your grave and then you activate this, you're taking a Blue Eyes out of your grave, thus leaving 2. The amount of attacks that monster can now have each battle phase is 2 attacks. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But this can also bring back cards like the Fusion, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, the new Fusion Twin Burst Dragon. There's just a couple of different things that you can do with this to kind of make it a bit unfair, but I still don't know if it's going to see a heavy amount of play, even though it is very good in design and it is very aggressive in terms of, I guess the word isn't aggressive, I guess the word I'm looking for is maybe oppressive, I guess, because like, you're summoning a huge beat stick, you're negating its effect, whatever, but it gets to attack multiple times, guaranteed. Like, that could actually become a threat, and that might be something that warrants this card seeing a bit of play past what I'm willing to give it credit for at the current point in time. But then again, this is all extreme speculation because we do not get these cards for quite a long time, so whatever the game shapes up to being at that point, whether or not this ends up being like a sort of competitive fun deck, or if it's just a fun deck at all, I mean, that's all things that are just up for speculation at this point, because we have no idea what the state of the game is going to be when these cards come out. But as of right now, strictly thinking in terms of just pure, like, blanket speculation, this card, I could see it seeing plays a 1 of, possibly a 2 of, but I'm not sure if it would be worth to play more than 2, because you can only control 1, and like, it just seems to put a damper on your game plan. You can't activate it unless you have 3 or more Blue Eyes in your graveyard, which means that it's going to be a later game thing in essence, considering how that kind of conflicts with how the rest of the deck is operating by adding Blue Eyes back to your hand, special summoning them back off the Azure Eyes. Multiple different things of that nature are what makes me believe this card is kind of iffy in terms of its playability in the deck, and also, there might just not even be room, because Jesus Christ, there are so many cards for this archetype that I want to play. There's so many cards, I don't know how I'm going to even get this down to 40, because, like, I'm struggling to be at 40 before this new wave came, and this is just so many, this is 9 more potential cards that you can play, and that becomes an issue in deck building. But that is all of my thoughts at the current point in time on these 3 new cards. I really like how much thought and how much actual effort Konami is putting into the Blue Eyes legacy support, because Blue Eyes White Dragon, in terms of the card and the theme, is one of the, if not the most iconic themes in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Even people that do not know or play this game have at least heard of the name Blue Eyes White Dragon at least once. It is potentially even more iconic in namesake than Dark Magician in terms of being linkable with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm very pleased that they're actually putting so much effort into these new cards that it actually might be an actual playable deck that could possibly function well enough to be competitive. Like, that actually just makes me really, really surprised that there could be a time in the future when Blue Eyes White Dragon decks are at least tier 2-ish. And that is such a mind-boggling thing to think about coming in 2016. 2016 Blue Eyes support that could make the deck at least tier 2 status strictly off of pure speculation is insane. But that is all for this video. As I've already said, that is my immediate thoughts on these cards, and I really like all of them. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description to both my Facebook pages. If you want to chat with me, connect with me, definitely check those out. That is what they are there for. I mean, I guess if you want to talk to me, you can try. You can definitely try. The door is open. All you gotta do is try and come in. It just depends on whether or not I'm busy or not, whether or not I'll chat with you. That's all that comes into play as factors go on that end. Clicking that if you have not, I'd greatly appreciate it. It helps make money, and there's no reason to lie to you guys about that. If you guys have an ad block enabled, do me a quick favor, a quick solid, if you will. Remove your ad blocker, refresh the video, click an ad or two, however many you want to do, then put the ad block back on when you are done. It takes seconds out of your day, takes no money out of your pocket, and helps me make money, and helps me out just a lot. I can't really stress that enough, and you would have my gratitude. I'd be greatly appreciative of you if that is something you could do, take the time out of your day to do, and it's just a great way to show your support for the things that I'm doing, and it's a nice form of feedback that I get. It's probably the most useful form of feedback, more useful than any of the YouTube demographics that they currently offer me with. But that is all for this video, and as always, guys, take care.